Germany's incoming Chancellor Friedrich Merz has met with French President Emmanuel Macron in Paris. They discussed a new chapter in Franco-German relations. It's Merz's first foreign outing since his Conservatives secured victory in federal elections last weekend. The pair discussed the recent shift in US policy over the war in Ukraine, as well as European defense. And I'm now joined by our chief political editor, Michaela Küfner. Michaela, what more can you tell us about Merz's trip to Paris?
Well, Merz did have some social media activity on this, and he posted that they had a lot more even in common than he had expected already. It's interesting. Friedrich Merz, the leader of the Conservative CDU-CSU, he's not even elected as Chancellor yet. That's what the new parliament will have to do. And yet he is already visiting the French president. A lot of this is symbolism. A lot of this is signaling to the European Union that Germany will be back, that he will fulfill his promise of bringing Germany back from what he called a sleeping middle nation to a leading middle nation, pending, of course, those coalition talks, which could take weeks, potentially even months here in Germany.
Now, clearly, Merz is not losing any time there. Do we know if the meeting with Macron was coordinated with the outgoing Chancellor, Olaf Scholz?
It was not. And we actually know that the two, we know from previous experience, don't really particularly see eye to eye. The question was put to the spokesman of Olaf Scholz, the current Chancellor, whether he would consider taking Friedrich Merz along to future meetings with world leaders. And his spokesman then rebuffed that, saying, look, there's no apprenticeship for being Chancellor. So relations aren't really that tight, even when it comes to questions like what to do next as Germany and as Europe on that challenge that is coming thick and fast from the new Trump administration.
Now, the personal relationship between Scholz and Macron was said to have been less than great. Will Merz and Macron find it easier to get along?
Well, the pictures speak for themselves. This was very highly choreographed, demonstrating how close these two leaders can potentially work together in the future. My question to the team of Friedrich Merz is, look, you also said that you would bring Poland much closer to Germany again. Is there a next trip planned? But they wouldn't really discuss that yet. But I would expect to see more symbolism of this kind.
Now, you mentioned Poland. It's been said that Europe needs especially strong leadership now from Berlin and from Paris, but also from Warsaw. Can and should this so-called Weimar Triangle be reanimated?
It needs to be, because it is the one chance for the European Union to actually speak with something of a united voice, although it clearly is in no position of getting all members onto the same page. A notable exception, of course, there, Hungary, so under its Prime Minister Viktor Orban. So this remains a challenge into the future. But first, there's this not minor detail of actually forming a coalition here in Germany. Friedrich Merz, the Chancellor in waiting, almost is expected to become next Chancellor, is very good at signalling German leadership, but he's not in office yet, and that detail gets lost.
DW's chief political editor, Michaela Küfner there. Thank you, Michaela.